Hi there, welcome to Express Yourself, where we talk to youth in the community about how they express themselves through art, music, anything. My name's Ben, and this is my partner in crime.
Hi, I'm Chloe. We're going to be your hosts, and we're going to be interviewing local artists, musicians, athletes, anything you can think of, and see how they express themselves. I got interested in this because I like to be a part of all sorts of different things, like, again, music, art, writing, everything. And I like to see how, everywhere you go, somebody has a different story about how they got into it, how it's changed them. And I'd like to see how the youth in the community how it's changed them.
Yeah, I agree with that completely as far as me getting into this. And it's awesome because we're right here in the Nelson Youth Center where kids can come and express themselves in many different ways. There's a art center in here. We got a whole room set up for any bands. We got the skate park indoors. It's awesome. It's a great place to be, and I'm glad we're here right today.
Me too. So what do you do, Ben, in terms of expressing yourself?
So I'm actually a bit of a musician myself. I play a bit of guitar. I'm self-taught. I'm a basketball player. I do a lot of athletics, and that's a main output for me through expressing myself. I find a lot of anger and whatever else I'm dealing with. That hard test I can really get off my chest by just going to the gym or playing basketball with my friends. Being that we're in grade 12 and school's getting pretty difficult at this point, is there any way that you like to have an outlet? Any way that you allow yourself to express that?
Yeah, after a hard day or a hard week or a hard month even, what I like to do is just go home and spend a whole day just sitting down, painting pictures or drawing or playing guitar or piano or violin. I just love to create and be a part of that.
Yeah, just pick something up and go with it for a bit. I can relate to that completely.
For sure.
I really enjoy going home after a hard day of school, whatever, test, didn't get a good mark. Parent yelled at you for not getting a good mark, the usual, and just being able to go upstairs, play my guitar, or even just paint anything really, even just doodle. And sometimes at lunch or whatever, it's a great outlet for that frustration that you might have.
I find it saved me more than once, for sure.
Yeah. And as far as your academic semester, how's that?
So far, so good. I mean, that's another way that I express myself is through academics. Yeah. I am taking some decently hard courses, but I'm finding that it's really fun to be there and everybody's excited to learn, and I'm just really enjoying just being there, and the teachers are excited to teach, and I'm just making the most of it. How about you, Ben?
Yeah, well, I find often on a day-to-day basis, getting up's always difficult, and I'm not the biggest fan of school, but it's always the idea of it that ends up being the more difficult part of it. And once you're actually there and immersed with your friends and actually doing stuff that intrigues you or furthers my knowledge on a certain subject, that's when I really get into it, and that's when I find myself going along with everybody else in just that day-to-day life, even though it might be a bit stressful.
I find that, all the stress of getting into post-secondary, and a lot of people I know have no idea what they want to do. Yeah. They have no idea what kind of path they're going to take. And I gotta say, the same way that it's helped us, after having a hard time, we were able to go home and play music, or you're able to play basketball. And I found that, in my experience, when I've talked to people, one of the things that's really helped them just stay grounded is being able to do things like that, being able to go and skate or being able to go and paint. And it's a huge positive impact on people. It keeps them from doing things that wouldn't be good for them. It's a way to positively grow. I
can agree with that, especially obviously, like I talked about before, the location here. Great place to go if you're looking for a place to just leave home. Obviously it's a safe space for kids. There's everything and anything really to do here, and it's an awesome opportunity to have that as a community for kids our age and much younger as well, to just come and all be part of one sort of community almost in itself.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, and so having these outlets through whatever it is that you enjoy doing is just a great way to avoid those more negative things that are potentials that for kids our age or any age to really get into. So it's great, especially in this community. I find a lot of support behind that, a lot of resources, getting stuff like even this show out here to inform kids and families and really anyone about our opportunities that we have here, how everybody else can get there. Just giving them that information so they can be self-starters themselves to get to that point. I think that's awesome.
So essentially we're going to be talking to people and seeing how it has been affecting them, their positive expressions, and be talking to people and just ask them, how has it changed you?
Coming up after the break, we'll be talking to Ailey about her experience in the community. She's a local artist. I'm looking forward to it. See you after the break.
Hi Ailey, welcome to Express Yourself. Thanks for joining us. So you're an artist?
Yeah.
What kind of art do you do?
I started off doing ink drawings, and now I've sort of moved in a direction of starting to do different sort of things. I would like to do basically everything, but at this point in time, just painting until I'm good at painting, I guess.
And how long have you been doing art for?
Probably about 2 years now, and I only got serious about it when I come to Nelson about 3 months ago.
Cool. And as part of your art style, what are you inspired by? What makes you paint, your way?
I would say different artists inspire me the most. Is other people doing art inspires me to get good at art, and I definitely think that my style is so surreal, that sort of like cartoony sort of like vibe to it. So it's sort of, I don't know, I like fairy tales and stuff. I think I get inspired by fairy tales and like the idea of being in this other world and creating like a different sort of world and stuff. I think that's what inspires me the most, for sure.
Cool, that sounds really awesome. I noticed you're wearing a Winnie the Pooh shirt. Is that as an inspiration at all?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
Cool. And as far as artists, is there any artists in particular that you're familiar with that maybe inspired you to do what you're doing now?
A local artist inspired me the most. It was a local artist by Emma, and she was up at Nelson just doing her art on the side of the road, and she did the most amazing art piece I've ever seen, and I instantly was inspired to paint. I hadn't picked up a paintbrush until I saw her artworks, and I was like, I want to be that good.
Wow,
so
yeah.
That's what inspires me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. And as far as cartoon-wise, is there anything else that, maybe from your childhood that has really brought you to create what you're doing?
All of Disney, completely all of Disney. And like TV shows like Adventure Time and stuff like that have definitely inspired me the most. And like created my style. I have noticed now I've sort of gone in that direction of style because of that. But yeah.
So as far as you're really interested, it sounds like, in the TV shows and that cartoon sort of aspect of it. Is there a future career somewhere in there for you?
I've thought about it. I've thought about like different ideas from going off art. But I think solely if I was going to stick to doing art, I would probably just sell my art as one, because it is cartoony, but it also has a very surreal, very real side to it, and I would like to be better at realism. I think generally my style is more cartoony at the moment because I haven't quite mastered the realism yet, but I've definitely thought about it, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
Or designing labels or something,
yeah.
I've thought about for sure.
Yeah, I recently had experience with that, designing our grad logo. We're both in grade 12, so
yeah.
I went through the process of, figuring out an idea and then, moving along with it and actually making it a reality. Is there a process like that you go through?
I do. I try to. I have started to try and build more of a concept to all of my art and more building blocks of what I'm going to do. But I find that, as I think every artist sort of does, is that it's like the hardest thing is thinking it but then getting it onto paper, and generally my art never turns out the way that I ever picture. Like it either is better or worse, but I just never ever how I picture it.
I agree with that completely.
Yeah. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how art is in a way. It's just like, it's such a odd thing that it's so particular that it just never really turns out as one thing. But I think that's also what's great about it, is that you can never really predict it. It's always something completely different.
Definitely.
Yeah.
that's what keeps me sort of going at the same time, is not knowing what's going to come out of it, sort of thing. Yeah.
So what mediums do you see yourself moving into as you progress through your art?
I don't know. I don't know. It sort of just gradually is happening over time. It's just, my style has definitely changed over time, and it is probably going to continuously keep changing, because I feel like I want something different out of every artwork. I want it to be like different in a way. So either like more realistic or more cartoony. So I haven't quite nailed down a style yet. I'm still so like, because I'm trying so many different things, that it just is coming out so differently. But yeah.
And since you started doing art, how would you say it's changed your life so far?
In a really good way, because I find it gives me something to do, but I'm not doing anything, and it also motivates me to be like using my creative side and stuff. And I don't know, it's very like peaceful to just be able to sit there. It's like when you're reading a book, but it's just like for me to be able to sit there and do art, even though it can be extremely frustrating at times. But it's just relaxing and stuff. I definitely think that it just helps me mellow out before bed sometimes. I find I'll stay up sometimes though, and I'll be like 3 in the morning, and I'm like, I've got to continue until this is done.
Yeah, I relate
But
to that.
Yeah, it's like that. You're like, you look at the time, you're like, wait, just one more little bit.
Yeah.
It's like another hour goes by.
Yeah, you kind of just get in a groove, and then you just go with it for a while, and you find a path, and you just continue.
I find that I'm also one of those people that will go through like phases of like my art, where I will be so motivated and I can pump out so much art, and then I have times where it's like I can't do anything at all, and everything I draw is just terrible, and I'm like, and then like a week later I'll be able to sit down and do heaps of art, and then it will like stop again. So hard doing that though, but it's good. I like motivate myself on days where I don't want to do art, and I'm like, you've just got to do it. If you want to get better, you just got to do it and just sit there. But yeah.
I think that's one of the things that really bridges the gap between an artist and someone that does art, is just being able to, even when you don't want to do it, to actually force yourself to create something.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes you actually do get into it in the end, and you just go with it. Yeah.
Exactly. You find that you don't want to do it at the start, and then half an hour in, you're like, oh, this is fine. Like, and sometimes some of my best art has come from not wanting to do it, but I force myself to do it. That I'm like, oh, because I'm sort of more driven to do it, as opposed to sitting down and being so calm. And I'm like, no, I must do this. I must make this art perfect or something, you know?
So now that you've come a bit further in your art, what advice would you give to people who have never picked up a paintbrush but would like to start?
It's just practicing. I don't think that I was good. I think that I got good from doodling on all of my art, all my pages at school and stuff, to be honest. I think that like, it's just continuously doing something. I've even noticed now doing paintings. The first one I did wasn't so good, but now I've noticed just the more I keep doing it, the more I find if I stuff up, I correct it and be like, oh, next time, like, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm gonna just like avoid doing that. Or I just research heaps and look at so many photos until I'm like dead of looking at photos of things. And I think it's just picking up the paper and just having the guts to actually do it, and like just pushing yourself to do it, and not being scared of making bad art, and just making anything is the best thing, I think.
So Ailey, tell me about the first time that you had a piece critiqued or looked at by someone else. How did that go?
Was my year 12 major. We like spent the whole year doing different processes and creating like a massive piece throughout the whole year, and it was not till like the end of putting it up for show I was sort of daunted, because there was like all these other artists in the room and everybody else's. It's like one thing that you notice is like you never feel like your art, and you see other people's art that's good and you get intimidated. You feel like you're like, oh God, like, but theirs is so good. So I think like for me it was like, I was like, oh God, but I think it's also like the only way that you get over that is by doing it as well. Is like, it's one of those things that you just, I've seen plenty of different artists where it's like, well, that's not the best art, but it's the way that they actually like are so confident in their art that makes their art so good. I find that it's just reaching within and being like, right, if you want it enough, you just gotta be able to show it and just love it as it is and everything. You've just gotta enjoy whatever you're doing is definitely a thing, because I hide my art from tons of people. All the ones that I don't like, I hide it from everybody, but it's just the ones that you do like, you like to show, but it's just getting over it, I guess, is the fact that other people see how good your art is and they're like, oh, but that's so good. So it's sort of that thing of people encouraging you when they do say it is good. And having harsh criticism is also good because you sort of know what you to fix next time in that artwork, or like what to do better, or how to create a better concept or something, you know? But yeah.
And as far as your press process through going through, you know, being able to put your art into the world and being able to accept that negative, positive, you know, like reinforced feedback that could potentially be taken the wrong way, negatively.
Yeah.
How did you become someone that could take that and just build on it, be constructive with it?
I think it just takes over time of showing different people, and sometimes you don't get the reaction that you're hoping for, and you think that your art is better than it is, and then you show somebody and sometimes it isn't the reaction you're expecting, and you do take it quite negatively, but it's then you show the next person that they go, oh my God, and they die over it, you know, and then you're like, it's just different views, and it's a good thing to have in art, and especially like with my art, I do get a lot of confusion with my past art because it was so surreal and psychedelic that so many different people didn't understand what was going on, and it was too much for them. But I think it's just creating and getting the feedback of lots of different people helps you. Like getting bad feedback is good but bad, but getting the good feedback makes it so much worth going, all right, so now I know that my art is good, but somebody did say that in the back of your head that I will fix that next time, and there won't be that problem where there will be someone creating it. But everybody thinks so differently about art, you know, that's what art is. So it's like with art, you just let that go and just have negative feedback so that you have good feedback as well. So it's like you bounce off the both, I think.
So do you have anywhere that you're going to be showing your art that people can go see it?
Yeah, well, I was hoping to sell it to a local store in Nelson, but also we have a flea market down here on every first Sunday of the month. And I would be hoping to get some of my prints of my art and start to sell them down here and sell them to younger people for nice cheap prices and stuff like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll try and go check those out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming.
Yeah,
No worries.
it was great talking to you.
Yeah,
I
you
really
too, guys.
enjoyed the experience.